and your staff for their hard work on the bill. This is one in a parade of guess what's in your household products bills. Assembly Bill 1059 prohibits the sale and distribution in California of juvenile products, mattresses, and upholstered furniture that contains fiberglass. Both the federal government and the state of California have set standards that limit the flammability of mattresses and upholstered furniture. For a long time, toxic flame retardant chemicals were used to meet these standards, but in recognition of their really very negative health impacts, the law and regulations were changed at a federal and state levels to prohibit the use of these chemicals. While most manufacturers altered their manufacturing methods to use naturally resistant materials, such as rayon, latex, and wool, to meet this standard, some turned to fiberglass as a thermal barrier. Fiberglass is a man-made mineral fiber that's composed of silica sand, limestone, recycled glass, and soda ash that has a lifespan of more than 50 years. When individuals unzip or open mattress covers, unintentional exposure to fiberglass can occur. In addition, there's concern that even when the mattress or couch covers are not disturbed, the fiberglass particles escape to the surface, leading to unintended exposures. In one study, fiberglass was detected in the covers of mattresses manufactured by Zenus and Graco that were certified as having chemical-free foam. Since fiberglass is present in many mattresses, it can be difficult to tell whether a specific mattress contains it in the foam or the cover. The mattress label may or may not contain the term fiberglass, which is very important because if you go out and you want to buy one of these products that doesn't have fiberglass, sometimes you will anyway. Now, fiberglass can be irritating to the eyes, skin, and lungs. Rashes, itching, and blisters can occur when fiberglass comes in contact with human skin, even for short periods of time. Now, long-term exposure to fiberglass is associated with lung disease, including pulmonary fibrosis. Short inhalation exposure to fiberglass may cause lung inflammation and bronchitis. Fiberglass fibers can also cause visual changes, bleeding, and scarring if they become embedded in the eye. Basically, you don't want to be breathing this. You don't want it in your eyes. You certainly don't want to be sleeping on it. We know that only 13.1% of mattresses contain fiberglass as a thermal barrier. So these products we know can be effectively made without fiberglass, thereby effectively eliminating accidents, leakage, and other mistakes from happening and needlessly exposing the public to an unnecessary substance. Given the small amount of mattresses on the market containing fiberglass and the availability of alternatives to meet federal and state flammability standards, AB 1059 would ban the use of fiberglass to protect public health. I want to thank the International Sleep Products Association for working with us on this bill. I know they share our goal of getting rid of fiberglass in mattresses. I understand the concerns that they've raised with the bill regarding meeting federal flammability standards, and we will continue to work with them as we always try to do with industry. Testifying in support of the bill on behalf of our sponsor, the Environmental Working Group, is Val Alyud and Dr. Joanne Brasch with the California Product Stewardship Council, and I would, on behalf of all of us and all of our children, request an aye vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Chair and members of the committee. I am Bill Alyud, California Director of Government Affairs for the Environmental Working Group. First, I want to thank the author for bringing this issue to you, the staff for all their hard work on a complicated issue, and especially to the International Sleep Products Association, who have been great to work with, and I think we'll have a good working relationship going forward in trying to solve the issue and get a pragmatic bill to the governor. As the Assembly member said, fiberglass is a true concern about exposure to everyone, not just children. In this case, we're often worried about children in this committee. Through wear and tear, people opening up mattresses to wash them or look what's inside, they get spread quite easily, and they're microscopic fibers that can get in the lungs and have bad health impacts. We understand the need for safety. No one wants to see a mattress go up in flames. It's not just in your house, and smoking used to be the #1 reason, but if a mattress lights on fire in an apartment building, then everyone gets jeopardized, not just the person who was careless. So the important thing to understand are there are alternatives to be used. You can use wool, rayon, and silica-based fibers and these covers that go over the foam to make them meet the federal flammability requirements. We believe the manufacturers are nimble and innovative. For example, you've all heard now of bed in a box, where you get a box and open it up and boom, there's a mattress in your room. So they're able to do things they couldn't do 34 years ago, and we think they can do it on this. On enforcement, we've had a long discussion with the staff, and I think you'll see in Assemblymember Ting's measure coming to you today that this is an issue. We acknowledge it. We've done a good job, I think, the legislature and us and the governor signing these bills to get a number of chemicals banned while we wait for the Department of Toxic Substance Control's Safer Consumer Product program to get going and finish and get a product out. Meanwhile, we've been grateful about the actions taken by this committee and others to protect public health. So we'll work with you on the enforcement issue and on this bill and other bills. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, do we have any members of the public wishing to add their...
We have one more witness.
One more witness? Oh, okay. You may also come up to the desk if you like.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you so much, Committee Chair. My name is Dr. Joanne Brasch. I am currently the chair of the CalRecycle Mattress Recycling Advisory Committee, but I'm here today on behalf of the California Product Stewardship Council. We're a nonprofit that's primarily funded by local government waste authorities, haulers, and recyclers, with the mission of green design. We want to get the toxics out of the market before they even enter them. The U.S. Labor Bureau has identified solid waste and recycling industry as one of the top deadliest industries and jobs in the country. This does include exposures during the deconstruction process. So we respectfully ask for an aye vote on this bill because it really addresses the problem before it even enters the market so that we can prevent undue and unjust exposures in the recycling processes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now let's go back to the room. If you wish to add your support, please come to the microphone, name, organization, and your position on the bill in support, I guess.
Daryl Little on behalf of NRDC in support. Thank you.
Andrea Ventura with Clean Water Action. Late in getting a letter in, but we do support this bill.
Liv Butler, Californians Against Waste, in support.
Thank you. Now, do we have any members of the public who wish to testify in opposition to this bill? Please come forward. No.
Dean Talley on behalf of the California Manufacturing Technology Association. We originally had a neutral position on the bill, and I certainly appreciate the intent as being someone that's had fiberglass poisoning from insulation. But the new amendments of April 10th do include flame retardant chemicals. We feel like that is a broad scope change, and unfortunately we're going to have to change to oppose unless amended position. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing now, let's go to the phone lines for support or opposition. Phone moderator.
Those who wish to speak in support or opposition to this bill, please press 1, then 0. Press 1, then 0. We're going to go to line 121. Your line is now open.
Hi, this is Piper Primrose of Non-Toxic Schools, Marin County, and we're in strong support of this bill as amended.
Line 118, your line is now open.
Jordan Wells on behalf of the National Stewardship Action Council in strong support. Thank you.
Line 115, your line is now open.
Vanessa Forsyth, Clean Earth for Kids and California Nurses for Environmental Health and Justice, support as amended.
Line 125, your line is now open.
Catherine Dodd, Families Advocating for Chemical and Toxic Safety. We support.
And Mr. Chair, one moment. We have one more person who signaled that they wish to speak.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. I am Ryan Trainer, President of the International Sleep Products Association, the Mattress Industry's trade association. Regrettably, we are here concerned about one provision in amended AB 1059. To be clear, the mattress industry supports the amendments that define fiberglass, provide a phase-out date, and enforcement. We also appreciate the productive conversations we've had with Assembly Member Friedman's office, the sponsor, and the committee on the fiberglass issue. ISPA's concern is with one amendment that recently emerged which expands the bill's scope far beyond fiberglass. It now removes an existing exemption which could jeopardize our continued use of certain other fibers in mattresses. This amendment was made based on concerns that the mattress industry could replace fiberglass with harmful substitutes. Again, to be clear, the industry is not using and will not add any of those flame retardant chemicals to the substitute barrier materials. But we are concerned that the broad wording used to define banned flame retardant chemicals could be interpreted to restrict mattress companies from using two fibers we've used safely for years to meet the federal flammability standards administered by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. These fibers are critical to reducing deaths, injuries, and property damage caused by mattress fires. The safety of these fibers is well documented by scientific testing. These fibers themselves are not flame retardant chemicals, but are inherently fire resistant. Still, we remain concerned they could be captured under the bill's very broad definitions. Upon learning of the bill would be expanded, ISPA proposed to exempt these fibers from the prohibition. Our concerns could also be addressed if the enforcement agency can confirm that these fibers would not be captured under the scope of the prohibition. In approaching this problem, we urge the legislature and regulators to be guided by the science, which demonstrates that these fibers should not be banned. ISPA will continue working with stakeholders to provide for the more robust science-based discussion that this legislation deserves. But absent adequate time, we remain concerned. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. And now bring it back to committee. Any questions or comments from committee members?
Mr. Chair, pardon me, we do apologize. We were unaware that there were additional witnesses that needed to speak. We did have one more person who wished to signal their support or opposition, and that's line 124. Please go ahead.
We'll do that last one. Thank you.
Thank you. Lenji Pusnell, Growing Solutions Fund, and Jonas Philanthropies in strong support of protecting our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, Vice Chair Hoover.
Thank you. I just had a quick question about and I'm not super familiar with this issue area, so I'm just curious on the federal regulations for flammability standards and how this is going to impact the ability of the industry to kind of meet those standards while also, complying with this bill. So I was just curious what your response might be on that one.
Sure. Well, first, I want to thank the International Sleep Product Association, who you heard speak. They've been really wonderful to work with, and we've had very productive conversations. We've amended the bill based on their feedback, and we'll continue to work with them to get the bill into a place where we're able to address their concerns, which, as you heard, are fairly narrow. They're about what they'll be able to use as a substitution, wanting to make sure that the way the amendment is worded allows them to use non-toxic replacements. So we're not at all trying to undercut federal flammability standards. And we know that, and the industry also recognizes that they can meet that within the context of this bill. It's really a question of wording this in the right way to allow them to use alternative fibers, but not to allow them to use, let's say, flame retardant chemicals. And I'll say part of the concern is not necessarily our homegrown industry here. It's what people are buying online and having shipped in from overseas. And so even though we may trust our own industry to kind of self-regulate, we have to make sure that in the bill that when we get rid of the fiberglass, we don't have, let's say, a foreign manufacturer soaking the product with the outside of the product with flame retardant chemicals that we don't want to be used, which is why the bill expands the ban on using the flame retardant chemicals in foam to the exterior of the mattress, because that would be a cheap solution that no one wants to see. So we're not trying to undercut those federal regs. We just want to make sure that we don't, while we try to meet them, allow for substances that we know are very harmful to human health. Sure.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I will invite the author to close.
We've been having, our work with industry has been really great on this. We want to continue working with them, and, we think the bill's getting into a really good place, and hopefully soon none of us are going to have to worry about health effects from what we're sleeping on every night. I would request an aye vote. Thank you.
I'll move the bill.
Bill has been moved and seconded. I'd like to thank Assemblymember Friedman, her staff, and sponsors working with us and the ESCM staff on this bill. I'm pleased that the fiberglass prohibition in the bill will now be enforced by the Bureau of Household Goods and Services. We have met with the Bureau, and they test mattresses and upholstered furniture monthly for compliance with prohibitions on flame-retardant chemicals. Through this bill, they will also check the same products for fiberglass and take enforcement actions when necessary. There isn't always such a good fit for an enforcement program, but perhaps this is a model we can look to as we discuss enforcement for other chemical prohibitions, recommending an aye vote. And the motion will be due pass the Appropriations Committee. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Item 8, AB 1059 Friedman. The motion is due pass and we refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Lee?
Aye.
Lee, aye. Hoover?
Not voting.
Hoover, not voting. Arambula? Bauer Cahan? Aye. Bauer Cahan, aye. Connolly? Aye. Conley, aye. McKinner? Aye. McKinner, aye. Pacheco? Aye. Pacheco, aye. Ta? Zuber? Aye. Zuber, aye. That has enough votes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 votes. That's out. Congratulations.